Afternoon or night, everyone. For those of you who don't already know, I'm Emma Potter Novosto. I'm currently taking ACE Media Studies for the 2024 to 2025 school year, and welcome to the Media Podcast. So, one question I've been asked a lot is how does your product use or challenge conventions, and how does it represent social groups or issues? Big question, I know, so let's break it down. For the first part of the question, my film does both use and challenge conventions. Steve Neal, this media theorist, I don't know if you guys would have heard of him, but he talks about this exact thing, how media both repeats and differentiates conventions within its own genres. In My Film Canine, conventions of the typical thriller or horror genre are definitely challenged, since my film is overall just lighter. My film has bright, natural lighting that is continued throughout instead of dark lighting typically associated with these genres as shown throughout movies like The Blair Witch Project. This can be easily seen at the door or even on the side of the couch in my film. The brighter lighting reoccurring even inside, as I said, on the couch, where it would be easiest to have darker lighting, shows the intention and even irony behind the lighting choice. This already allows viewers, like you, to understand my film is different from others in the genre. There's also no violence shown on screen, which heavily contrasts horror movies we all know and love, like the Terrifier franchise. Again, making the difference between my film and other horror or thriller films evident. But there's also no sense of suspense or intense scenes that are in almost every thriller. There is a slight ominous swelling throughout our film, though, that upholds the conventions of horror and thriller through the use of sound. Yet, these things align with the genre of satirical comedy because it creates irony, which is a key part of satirical comedy. Okay, so to discuss the second part of the question, my film lightly touches on the topic of animal cruelty, which in our society is way too normalized and pretty much almost accepted in one way or another. There's also a representation of the average teenager through the conversations and clothing of the characters. You can see them in jeans and, t-shirts with superheroes or famous artists on it. Two of the characters can be seen talking about a girl and how to approach her. We all know how boy and girl crazy teenagers are in this day and age, so that helps represent that. The conversation also causes them to be distracted, which again, teenagers never look up from their phones. And that's a common stereotype, so it helps create a pretty accurate and lifelike example of teenage behavior. Their clothing being so casual, especially the chef's, where he's just wearing a t-shirt and shorts, also helps fit that teenagers never dress up. I mean, you go to the store and it seems like every teenager you see has pajamas on. And there's this media theorist guy, Stuart Hall. He talks about how representations give, meaning to the film, or how people can interpret things differently. I think that can be shown, so some people may like to see the average teenager be represented, or some may feel annoyed because of their distracted nature and how it's used in my film. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys. That's all for today, and I'll see you in the next episode of the Media Podcast.